I saw an interesting interview with Dan Sullivan. He is a senator from Alaska, and he was on this morning, another station I was watching, and he's having a meeting with Larry Fink today. Larry Fink, of course, the CEO of BlackRock, who manages lots and lots and lots of money, and he's going to be sharing with him. So Larry Fink is very into all of this ESG investing, and that's really the left's version of BRI. So it's all about, you know, um, green energy and corporate governance and the LGBT agenda and all of that, but mainly green energy at the forefront of everything as they want to try to steer clear of these evil oil companies and clean them out of their portfolio. But basically, this senator from Alaska, Dan Sullivan, he was talking about some legislation that he plans to introduce and that he's going to talk to Larry Fink about today to limit big firms like BlackRock and Vanguard and Fidelity when it comes to voting the shares that they have, that they hold in street name. So what that means is that, BlackRock and Vanguard and Fidelity, all of those companies control lots of shares of stock. They own these shares of stock in street name is what it's called. So in their name for the individual investors that have their money invested for them. What that means is that they get to block vote all of these proxies. So when a company has a shareholder resolution come out, and if you own individual stocks, you'll get these in the mail from time to time, a shareholder proxy, and it's usually electing the board of directors. But there's also all of these other issues that come up on there. One of them now is that they're trying to get for-profit companies to become, and I forget what it's called, the name of it's slipping, but basically to become public charities, to start to run their businesses as nonprofit organizations, which is just flies in the face of capitalism and is really a stupid idea, in my opinion, I guess, because I'm so much in support of capitalism. But basically, this senator is going to share with Larry Fink some legislation that he intends to propose that's going to limit them from voting those shares. This is going to take away some of the power that they have to influence these companies into doing certain things. There was the example of just last year or the year before, ExxonMobil, their board was kind of hijacked by a Engine One. It's an activist hedge fund company, and they basically were able to get, I think, two people elected to the board of directors to ExxonMobil, and their agenda is for green energy. So they're going to try to force the largest, one of the largest oil companies in the world to become green. What do you think that's going to do to its profitability? It's really going to destroy the company. Or it has the potential to destroy the company. But if this legislation goes through, I think this would be a very good thing because it's going to limit them from having the power to speak for all of those individual shareholders who are represented because their shares are being held in street name. I saw another, and this senator was talking about a survey that indicated that 65% of Americans believe that we should be producing more energy. So, to have these three large companies getting to vote all of these shares, they're speaking for the majority of Americans who are not opposed to owning oil companies or to having, fossil fuels run our energy infrastructure. But these big companies are getting to vote the shares, and it's not really fair representation. It's not an adequate representation. So the ESG is really the left's BRI. So, here at the ministry are huge proponents for biblically responsible investing. We don't want to own anything that's going to be in opposition to our Christian values. So where that comes into play and why that's relevant is because when we own a stock, of course, we as Christians believe that the Lord owns everything and we're just in charge of certain things while we're here, but we still have stewardship responsibility on how we handle those things. So if you own one share of stock in a company or a mutual fund, you own shares of stock in a lot of companies, you still retain stewardship responsibility for what happens with that money. So what these big companies are doing, they're donating money to Planned Parenthood, they're sponsoring gay pride parades, they're donating money to political action committees that are trying to change the definition of what God says marriage is. And that doesn't align with our Christian values. So if we really take our stewardship responsibility seriously, our hearts will be convicted to do biblically responsible investing. So ESG, though, is the left's BRI. And of course, their values are a little bit different than ours. Whereas we don't buy into the LGBT agenda because we believe that God says marriage is between one man and one woman. Supporting the LGBT agenda is a huge thing for the ESG investors. So they're what's called socially responsible. And they are also into all of the green energy and all of this. Of course, as Christians, we want to steward the earth well, but we don't take it to the extreme.
Hey, remember to click the subscribe button right here on the screen. And don't forget to hit the notification bell so you'll be notified when new content is added. And more importantly than anything, you don't want to miss all 3 live hours of Financial Issues every day from 9 to noon. And you can watch it on FISM.tv. That's FISM.tv.